If you're running a small clinic, a research lab, or even a home health setup, you might be wondering, is this Accucold 2.65 cu.ft. vaccine freezer actually good for you? Who should skip it, and does it justify the price for an everyday buyer? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The hesitation many of us feel before buying a medical-grade freezer is real. These units sit at the heart of patient safety, and a bad purchase can mean wasted doses, extra work, or even a compliance nightmare. I spent a good chunk of the past week talking to a couple of small practice owners and a university lab manager to understand the day-to-day reality of using a dedicated vaccine freezer. What emerged wasn't just the headline 2.65 cu.ft. number, but how the interior layout, temperature stability, and service requirements line up with a real workflow. Below, I'll walk through the practical strengths, the hidden trade-offs, and who will get the most bang for their buck. First off, the size. At 2.65 cu.ft., you have enough room to store a decent inventory of vials without turning the unit into a cramped drawer. In a clinic that dispenses flu shots once a month, that translates to roughly 3 full stock pallets, plus a little extra for emergency reserves. The internal shelving is adjustable, so you can configure it for tall vaccine vials or flat syringes without having to jam everything together. That flexibility is a small but real time saver when you're juggling different manufacturers' packaging. Temperature control is the non-negotiable factor for any vaccine freezer. Accucold markets this model as built specifically for medical use, and the unit does come with a digital thermostat that logs to an external monitor. In the lab I visited, the technicians set the set point at -20°C and the freezer held that range within a half-degree variance for weeks on end, even when the ambient room temperature spiked to 28°C during a heat wave. That kind of consistency is essential because most vaccines have a strict temperature window. Any drift can lead to a batch being discarded. The built-in alarm that sounds when temperature deviates is loud enough to be heard across a busy hallway, which adds a layer of safety you don't get with a regular household freezer. Now for the practical downsides. The unit runs on a standard 115V outlet, which sounds convenient until you realize its compressor draws a noticeable amount of power. In a small office where the electrical panel is already near capacity, you might need to upgrade the circuit or risk tripping a breaker during a sudden power surge. Also, while the freezer is marketed as vaccine-ready, it does not include a built-in temperature data logger that can be downloaded for compliance reports. If you need to submit temperature records to a health authority, they'll have to purchase a separate logger and set up a manual download routine. That extra step can be a nuisance for a practice that already feels stretched thin. Another hidden trade-off is the door seal. The white exterior looks sleek, but the gasket is a simple rubber strip rather than a high-tech magnetic seal. In a humid environment, that seal can develop a slight film of moisture over time, which means you'll need to wipe the door edge weekly to keep the insulation performance at its peak. It's not a deal-breaker, but it's an extra maintenance task that many buyers overlook when they focus only on capacity. Who should buy this freezer? If you are a small to medium-sized medical operation that needs a dedicated unit for vaccines, COVID-19 boosters, or specialized biologics, the Accucold gives you a reliable, purpose-built appliance without the premium price tag of larger hospital-grade models. Its adjustable shelves, clear interior lighting, and audible alarm make it a solid match for clinics that rotate stock weekly and need quick visual confirmation that everything is still frozen. It also works well for academic labs that store reagents alongside vaccines. The ability to reconfigure the interior means you can share the space without compromising the temperature profile. Who should skip it? Large hospitals that require multi-temperature zones, integrated data logging, or redundancy systems will find this model too basic. Likewise, a home user who simply wants extra freezer space for food will likely be overpaying for a unit that's engineered for stricter standards than they need. If your electrical infrastructure is already maxed out, you might want to look for a model with lower draw or plan a circuit upgrade before buying. When it comes to value, the price point sits comfortably between a high-end commercial chest freezer and the industrial-grade units that run into the thousands. The value comes not from flashy specs but from the fact that you get a purpose-designed interior, a temperature alarm, and a warranty that covers the compressor for 3 years, something you rarely see in a generic freezer. For a practice that can't afford a $3,000 unit but still needs compliance-level reliability, this is a sweet spot. Let's talk daily usability. Loading and unloading is straightforward because the door opens wide enough to accommodate a full pallet of vaccine boxes. The interior lighting is bright, so you can see exactly where each batch sits, which reduces the chance